Hi, everybody. Good morning or afternoon, depending on where you are. Thank you so much for joining our webinar today. My name is Christy Gary. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Vice President of Strategic Accounts here at Knowledge Lake, and I'm going to be your host. In this webinar, we're going to talk about how you can recognize the full potential of AI-powered automation at your organization. Joining me today are Ron Cameron, our founder and CEO, and Jason Burian, our Vice President of Product. We'll start with Ron, who is going to introduce our powerful intuitive AI and how it can drastically reduce a lot of manual intervention and speed up document processing and increasing your operational efficiency. And then Jason is going to dive into some exciting demos, walk through some unique use cases for us, and then we'll wrap things up today, as promised, with a live Ask Me Anything session after Jason is done. And then throughout the webinar, you can type your questions. The Teams webinar is a little bit different. There's a Q&A section. So if you have a question, you can type those in there at any time, and we'll cover those at the end. The webinar is being recorded, and a link will be sent out to everyone after the webinar. And then the last thing is we're going to be offering up a POC to the first 10 clients that contact me or scan the QR code after the call. And we'll talk a little bit more about that at the end. So let's get started. Ron, I'll turn it over to you.
Well, thanks, Christy, and thanks everyone for your time today. Really exciting. Love to talk about the world and love to talk about Knowledge Lake. And I've got a little bit of a unique perspective. As Christy said, I founded Knowledge Lake in 1999. My background is as a technologist. I'm not a sales background person. Just say that because I do have a background in technology. So most of the concepts here, we think we have great thought leadership at Knowledge Lake. So let's just go ahead and get started. And I'll get you to Jason quickly so we can see a product demonstration. So today on the agenda, we're going to talk about kind of what AI is in business in 2024. And if hopefully you guys are ready for doing more with AI inside your business, that's really what we want to focus and talk about today. And we're going to talk about some real world customer case studies of Knowledge Lake customers that have been with us for a very, very long time, most of them. And in the last 24, almost 25 years, we've helped thousands of organizations automate business processes. So we got a lot of background. We're gonna go through a product demo, and then we're gonna go through and ask us anything like a Q&A. So if you have questions, as Christy said, let's make sure we get them on the table, have a discussion. All right, so let's talk about AI in 2024. This is a little bit tongue in cheek. I just wanted to open up with something a little more lighthearted, but today's reality, I use AI to do my creative work so I can have more time to mow the grass and do the laundry. So that's not really what I want, but the reality is that's what it does for me. What I'd really like is for AI to mow the grass and do the laundry so I could have more time to do my creative work. And I know we all are in sort of that same boat. I know we're all tinkering around with ChatGPT and it helps us write things and do some research and all that, but it's not really hands-on stuff that are really going to help me in my day-to-day. So what we hope to accomplish today in today's presentation is to show you how you can use AI built into the Knowledge Lake platform to help you get more done with real world work inside your organization. All right, so this is my thought leader, my own thoughts here about the steps of how AI is going to impact our world. I would definitely say that in my 30-year view of what's happened with technology, AI is the biggest thing that's impacted us. And I've lived through, when I started, there was no such thing as a cell phone and so on and so forth. Computer networking came along. That was really disruptive, but AI is clearly going to be the biggest thing that's going to happen in our lifetime. And we're just at the very beginning of it. So I define stage one of AI as what I call the tool stage or the tool generation, which we've all watched for about the last 18 months. We watched, ChatGPT emerge, went from 0 to 1 million users in like just a few hours. And it's been really amazing and impressive. It helps us do better writing, helps guys like me that don't know much about grammar to write things with less punctuation problems and with words spelled correctly. Can help us do basic image generation, and it's really good at helping do research. So because it's trained on the internet, so we all know that. And it's I think of it like a modestly intelligent eighth grader. It's not really all that smart when it comes right down to it, but it's getting better. So anyway, and how we actually use it in our day-to-day lives, to actually do our work, not really that straightforward. So That's stage one. Stage two, which is where we're at right now, is what I call the Copilot generation. This is emerging right now. This is where I fit Knowledge Lake's intuitive AI. This is which we shipped about a year ago right now, and this is really about an AI solution that can become a real assistant to our people, helping our people accomplish more. And I guess the primary way I would define the difference is that our AI can help your people, or it can understand the contextual data inside your organization to help your people accomplish tasks more efficiently, more accurately, more quickly. And it's a real benefit. And it's a hands-on benefit you can experience right now. This is, basically just turn it on. If you're a current Knowledge Lake customer, this is just something you just kind of turn on and it just starts going. It does understand your documents and your data as it comes in. And that's much different than one thing I wanted you to know. And Jason will explain more about this, but you don't have to worry about security because the AI doesn't keep any of your data. Okay, it analyzes it and discards it. So we have a lot of current security concerns, and those security concerns are non-existent with the way Knowledge Lake uses data. And then stage three, which is where we're headed, I'll say 2 to 3 years from now, maybe a little quicker than that. We're watching the capability of these large language models really exponentially grow. I said before, I think it's a modestly intelligent eighth grader. I think in the next 2 to 3 years, these things are going to be college educated, probably even doctorate level capabilities that keep an infinite amount of data instantly at their fingertips. So soon it's going to be these AI driven agents are going to be in our workforce in a hybrid mechanism. Okay, so what our people are going to do, our people are going to become conductors of a hybrid workforce. Okay, people are still going to be in the mix. People are still going to be doing the real creative stuff, the hard things, but we're going to have agents that do the real, I'll say, I'd like to say mundane sometimes. That's maybe not the right word, but we are going to watch the productivity of our workforce, the accuracy of our workforce, and the satisfaction of our real humans are going to reach an all-time high. And I really think this is where we're going to be. The stage three is where we're going to spend, in my opinion, a couple of decades getting that better. So we're emerging through stage two right now. We'll be to stage three fairly quickly, and we'll watch the conductor generation happen for a very long time. So sort of like if you compare it to like the evolution of the car, okay, we're still very, very early. And cars that look like a car and have four tires, it's taken decades of that evolution in a very slow fashion from that first innovation. So we're going to quickly get to stage three, and then we're going to be there for quite a period of time. So let's talk about intuitive AI. So, if you look at this image on the left, it's really, really blurry. Okay. But we know as a human, when I look at that image, just based on the fact that I've looked at documents, I looked at thousands of documents in my lifetime, maybe millions. I don't know, maybe not millions. I can tell just because it looks like it's got a logo in the upper left and it looks like it's maybe got a table of data down at the bottom. I'd guess I think I got a high percentage chance of thinking that's an invoice. Okay. And that's a lot the same as the way Knowledge Lake's intuitive AI works. The same way, if you look at this second image, okay, if my windshield on my car is really dirty and that's what I see, I know a really high percentage confidence that that's a stop sign. Okay. And this is exactly what Knowledge Lake's intuitive AI does for document understanding. So it's more than just using OCR to try to read letters. It's a lot more than that. It actually knows the context of the fact that of what it's seen, it learns over time, and it knows, and it can make very educated guesses on what documents are and what the data on the documents are. So why are we doing all this? I want to make sure that this is really clear that what intuitive AI does for every organization is increase operational efficiency. And operational efficiency is clearly one of the top 3 current priorities for CEOs. And my source here is Gartner, but man, you can find every research institution's got this same finding, and it's all really clear why. Okay, because people right now in the post-pandemic world, people are hard to find. There's a shortage of good employees. and they're too expensive. I'm sure we all see the news. I saw that California raised minimum wage to $20 an hour. And at the end of the day, the next generation of workers, they're also more difficult as it relates to doing mundane work. So these AI driven processes are a thing that can really dramatically increase operational efficiency. So, it really begs the question, how do you get started? Okay. And because you see all the metrics here, okay, and I won't go through all these in detail, but there is an incredible amount of money being spent in corporate America right now on AI research and deployment. Okay, so we see in 2023 it's 124 billion, growing to 300 billion in 2027. Predicted spending on AI software. But what do I do first? Okay, what do I do first? And something that's sort of what I'd call the low-hanging fruit, and that's really what we're going to talk about today. But I like the quote here from Bill Gates that says, the current AI models, they're not magic. They're just a lot faster at doing the tasks that humans do more slowly. So, what we're seeing here is especially with document understanding, it's really no magic about it. It's really about using a machine to do a task a lot faster and a lot more accurate than we would normally trust a human being to do it. So, no magic involved. All right, so let's jump in here. So what is it that we can really acknowledge? Like, what is it that we can help your people do better? Okay. And one thing I want to make sure that we put an exclamation point on here is that we are not in the business of trying to get rid of people and replace people with AI machines. It's just not realistic. Okay. We still need humans. We still need people to do the hard work. AI, we should view AI as a coworker or a co-pilot, the stage two that I talked about, not a replacement for people. It can act, as it says here, in a support role, handling the repetitive, mundane tasks, allowing the humans to focus more on creativity and strategy. That's an excellent way to view it. We augment the ability for humans to understand the data, to create insights, to create automation, complementing how we all work together as humans today. It goes without saying, obviously, collaboration. There is so much that with these new features, and you can see a lot of these features as like, for example, inside of M365, which we do a great job of extending Microsoft's 365 platform and how people collaborate. And also the thing is as our intuitive AI sees more of your document content, it gets smarter and smarter. It adapts quickly and can keep your data or keep your system processing things increasingly better as time goes on. All right, so this gets back to the basics of where we have at Knowledge Lake have been for a very, very long time, for over 20 years. Okay, we have always been in the document processing business. Okay, so the basic low-hanging fruit of where to start is to improve your processes as it relates to the low-hanging fruit of helping process documents. Okay, AIM, the Association of Intelligent Information Management, which is sort of the leading nonprofit in our industry, says that 95% of corporate information is still on paper in 2024. That's astounding to me because I can remember 25 years ago, everybody talking about the paperless office, the digital office, and digital transformation. And while I think a lot of that work has been done, it's still a very, very high percentage that still remains untouched. So 80% of usable data is still on paper. Paper documents, $4 trillion business growing 22% per year. That's astounding. And 30% of our people's time is spent on managing documents or document related tasks. So this is what it is. And this is I'm citing here an example of how we can add value to any organization, how we've already probably, if you're a Knowledge Lake customer, how we've already added some value. And AI is going to allow us to take you to that next level in a very big way. So I've got some information, some case studies about some current customers, which I'll talk about. I've also got some screenshots about some about the work that we've done with understanding documents, and I think it's pretty interesting here. So I'll just dive right in. The first one is a very large, very old customer of Knowledge Lake. I started working personally with Washington University in St. Louis in 1996, and as I launched Knowledge Lake in 1999, I brought them with me as a as a customer into the fold. They've been with Knowledge Lake ever since. We currently have over 16 departments, individual departments of functions inside their organization on the Knowledge Lake platform. Over 5,000 users that use Knowledge Lake every day to help automate their document processing. They've been a very, very good cornerstone customer for us. And it's a broad variety of different use cases inside of their organization. They see Knowledge Lake as a platform, and it's worked very, very well for them for a very long time. We've replaced department by department. We years ago actually have long time replaced all of their legacy systems and moved them from on-prem into the cloud, and it created some huge value for them. We have really streamlined most of their manual and intensive administrative processes. We've automated a lot of that with Intuitive AI, and I'll show you coming in one of the next slides here an example of how we've automated the admissions process at WashU. Great customer here. This example happens to be a capture example of scanning it looks like a legal document of some sort called a consent order. And the interesting thing is that Knowledge Lake doesn't really require any training. Okay, you create your taxonomy on the right side. You see document type and case number, plaintiff, defendant, date, and the summary of document. And it understands that, and it knows what to do. So it's actually read this consent order and actually supplies a summary of the document. Okay, and that's stored in a metadata field or in a tag without really anybody doing anything. So it's just you can see just based on how I'm sure we all understand how ChatGPT works. This is ChatGPT working as an example in an automated fashion. So we can do something like a summary of a document. And you can describe that any way you want. You can say summary of a document in 500 words or 25 words or 1,000 words. You can change those words and give it what we call an AI hint, okay, and get that to do just about anything you need it to do. More on that to come. As an example, this is an example of a transcript, okay, of a student transcript inside of the very common use case right now in our higher education business. So you see at the bottom, you see where the red circle is. You see grades on a course, okay, but you can actually instruct AI or instruct our Intuitive AI platform as an example to say, hey, what's the cumulative GPA? And it'll go ahead and calculate it for you really, really well. As a matter of fact, even if this document's 25 pages long and this information is unstructured and scattered through the whole thing, it is very, very accurate. And using this as an example of doing a calculation with the data contained in a document, and it does it instantly and accurately, and it's impressive. So this is an example. Our higher ed customers, they have generally would have teams of people, lots of people doing all of these calculations by hand. Okay, now Intuitive AI takes that really mundane task and does it instantly and perfectly. So this is an example of I'd say a medium to small size bank, Tradition Capital, been a customer for a very long time. And I'll summarize Tradition Capital by saying they really needed a solution that they could turn on like really immediately. Okay, so we're not really dependent on IT infrastructure. We do have some very small integration points because we do want to make sure we fit in to your current infrastructure really well, but it's Knowledge Lake is a full 100% cloud-based solution. So, there's no standing up servers, there's no buy-in software or any of that stuff. We will walk you through the paces and how to deploy the Knowledge Lake solution without having to do all the infrastructure stuff. So they were able to immediately increase productivity. They process loan documents now 6 times faster. They've greatly enhanced their ability to do regulatory compliance. And at the end of the day, they process loans more quickly, which to them is like money. So this is an example of a bank, but this is what's happening across our customer base. And here, I love this one. This is check processing, okay? And the reason why I wanted this to be in here, because I wanted to show you how it can use reasoning. So look at the red circle. Okay, and if you just look at that red circle, you'll go, oh, is that 1,100 or is that 1,600? And my human brain would tell me, I would slightly say that's probably closer to a 6, just looking inside the red box, Okay. I'd probably guess it was a 6 over a 1, but it's still it's pretty kind of a horse race. But if you read the words in handwriting over to the left where it says 1,600, guaranteed 100% that's a 6. Okay. And that is exactly what intuitive AI does as one tiny example, okay, of making things more accurate and efficient. And it does it in a blink of an eye, and it does handwriting really well. So I love this example, and it's that times 1,000 what it's capable of. And New Belgium Brewing, been a customer for a very long time. We all know New Belgium. It's one of my favorite products, Fat Tire Beer and Voodoo Ranger IPA. These guys are great customers, located in Colorado. And they use Knowledge Lake as a platform for doing a lot of different use cases inside their manufacturing org. One of the predominant ones is accounts payable processing because they get the purchase of all the raw materials, which is the example here. So in the old days, before intuitive AI, we were fully automating about 10% of their invoice processing. And today with intuitive AI, we're automating over 90% of it, reducing their processing time by 75%, which is incredible. And as I said, there's really no heavy install process or anything. It's really get a hold of us and turn it on and then watch and see what happens, because it's actually pretty amazing. And how it works. And at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Jason Burian, and he will demonstrate the Knowledge Lake platform for us. So Jason?
Sure. Ron, could you go ahead and hit next one more time for me?
Oh, sure. Yep.
Did I one more slide there? No, it's okay. I can do it. No problem.
All right. Sorry about that.
No problem. One second.
And just a reminder, if you have any questions, type those in the Q&A section. I put it in the chat, but I don't know if everybody saw it. So
before we dive in to the actual demonstration, just a quick overview of sort of what the Knowledge Lake platform is. Like Ron said before, organizations for the last 20, 30 years have built processes to scale their business centered around people. And that's great. That's how we've grown in the past. But organizations of the future will be able to expand their business. They'll be able to grow faster, to operate more accurately, to run their processes faster without the limitation of people. And again, to double down on what Ron said before, that's not to suggest that automation and AI and platforms like Knowledge Lake are here to replace people. I think what they're really here to do is focus people's effort and their time onto the high value tasks that people are really great at. Things like building relationships with customers, solving super complex problems, the sort of day-to-day work that we often just assign people to do can be left to automations. And I think Ron said something really interesting at the beginning, which is something that we often overlook, which is the satisfaction of our workforce, right? Not having people doing mundane or non-fulfilling tasks during their workday, but doing something that really has a meaningful impact to their business because some of the other things have been left to automation platforms to handle. So just a kind of quick snapshot of sort of who Knowledge Lake is and what we do. I'll get rid of this. And okay, so we're going to take a quick walk through a common use case with Knowledge Lake on how we help some of our university customers, just like Washington University that Ron mentioned earlier. But again, Ron went on to highlight a number of other different use cases around mortgage or account automation processing for financial services institutions like banks and credit unions, or payment order processing for manufacturing organizations. We help all different types of organizations with these core use cases that are central to their business. At the heart of Knowledge Lake is workflow, is process, is automation. And we've got a really easy to use drag and drop designer that allows you to build out your processes, to route work through both automated and manual steps. And this really becomes the center of how information and data and documents flow through your business and flow through your process. And we have a huge tool set over here in our toolbox from anything from, intuitive AI and extracting data to starting a manual task that a human needs to still participate in, like a review and approval, putting something on hold to wait for other data or wait for other documents, calling any number of different external API connectors that we have. And so as you can see here, it's really easy to just sort of drag and drop and build your workflow and create rules. That really, again, is the heart of what Knowledge Lake is. But as data comes into Knowledge Lake, sometimes it comes in the format of unstructured data, which is typically documents, PDFs, images, emails, attachments to emails, things like that. And one of the first things that we need to do is we need to convert that unstructured data into structured information so that we can work with it. And that's one of the big ways that intuitive AI comes in. So let me just jump over here to an example. So here's an example of a transcript. Sometimes transcripts can be really complicated to process. Each different, you can see here, each different university. Here's BYU, here's Central Washington University, and here's Purdue. All of those documents, very, very, very different. And in the past would require a lot of really complicated rules and programming and coding and engineers and months of configuration and development to be able to get it to extract simple data like last name and school name, and even complicated information like GPA and cumulative credits, and to get information extracted in a table like this. So what intuitive AI has really unlocked for us is the ability to understand documents, to extract data, to convert unstructured data that is sort of trapped inside of documents to structured information that can be used for a workflow or for tagging of a document, kind of out of the box, what we refer to as day zero document understanding. And sometimes you have to tweak the intuitive AI to sort of get more specific about what you're looking for. And that's done in a very natural language way. So you can look here, I'm extracting a table, and I've said in just a very natural language description, extract all course data into a table format. Course data is typically in course code, course number, course description. Please include a letter grade and also include the credits and course hours earned. Very natural language. I'm communicating with the intuitive AI as if it were a human on how I want it to get certain information. Simple information like credits and GPA, last name and school name, it sort of understands that out of the box. There's no need to really use these AI hints. Christy's telling me in the background to remind you that we do have a Q&A section. So if you go up to the top ribbon bar, there's a Q&A there. Please don't hesitate to leave questions. Ron and Christy and I will get to those at the end.
And so I did want to say real quick, I think we're having trouble with the Q&A, so just use the chat if you can't get in. Okay. I think we've maybe resolved it now, but if not, just use the chat. So we have a couple questions in there. So
chat or Q&A, we'll make sure we cover them both.
Yeah.
So documents or data comes into Knowledge Lake. We use intuitive AI to extract that information. And sometimes we still have to assign work to a human. And so this is my work inbox here. You can see I have a couple of different tasks assigned to me in different steps. I have a very simple one here where I have, the transcript and any related documents, a bunch of information about this student, any student details, where they've come from, and I'm being asked to approve this, yes or no. And so these layouts, these human in the loop task steps can be designed to look like in however you want. One of the ways that we've used intuitive AI to augment tasks, you can see here I have a very similar experience where I have a transcript? Do you approve this applicant, yes or no? You can see that this answer is defaulted to yes. And it's defaulted to yes because my AI assistant, my AI co-pilot, has synthesized the data about this applicant and made a recommendation for me already. So you can see based on historical data and current applicant profile, they have a GPA of 4.0, which aligns with the highest performance previously accepted applicants. It's examined their SAT and SAT scores, and it's marked those as exceptionally high. It's also evaluated special qualifications. So for this person, they were a Science Olympiad winner. They've done an internship at NASA. They already have their private pilot's license, which we value as highly impressive. And so it has recommended that, yeah, you should accept this applicant based off of this data. And so while not every organization is ready to just exclude humans from decision making, we certainly can augment human decision making with AI co-pilots or AI coworkers, like Ron alluded to earlier, to accelerate their decision making, to make it faster or make it more accurate with the guidance of AI. And then finally, documents can be stored. These documents that are part of these process can be stored and can be used to find later. So for instance, here I can go and open this and I can find this driver's license if I have a question about this applicant, or just to double check that we have it on file. But sometimes with certain use cases, and I'm gonna pivot real quick here. For those of you that don't know, Washington University here in our backyard of St. Louis is not only a great higher education university, but also they have a great school of pediatrics. They work very closely with hospitals in the area. They have a great doctor and nurse program. And so sometimes some of their documents are related to patient outcomes. And so one of the things that we're looking to do in the future is augment the way that people find information in documents or in their data using AI. And so for here, I can simply ask, instead of going and finding a document, I can ask, how do I improve patient outcomes? How about this? How about diabetic patient outcomes in the ICU? And so instead of going and finding a document or multiple documents, multiple standard operating procedures or research papers, I can simply ask a question and I can find that answer. And so I can not only get the direct answer, it can also cite where it found that information. So you can see there's this document where it cited that information, and it can also suggest follow-up questions. The AI can provide a thought process on how it got to that answer and also link you directly with the supporting information that it used to derive its answer from. So with Knowledge Lake and Intuitive AI, we're augmenting through workflow and process automation, we're augmenting how we get information out of documents and how we synthesize data from information that we've gotten. We're using AI to build co-pilots or co-workers that can help augment human-in-the-loop decision-making and tasks. And we're leveraging AI to accelerate finding the right information rather than just going and finding a document and having to read it. And so with that, Christy, I will turn it back over to you. I know I can see already that we have some questions that are queued up for us.
All right. Thanks, Ron and Jason. That was great stuff. New stuff for me in some areas, so that's great. So we do have 3 questions out here. One is there an additional license for this, or is it included in our subscription?
Yeah, I can take that. Yeah. So Intuitive AI is in most cases an add-on to the Knowledge Lake platform. But for some of you, you might already have it based on previous investments. So the best thing to do is to just contact Christy or your account manager, and they can help you navigate that situation. The good news is, because this is cloud software, we don't actually have to deploy anything. It's actually already there. We just have to enable it for you.
Right. And then also I wanted to mention, if you do want to ask a live question, because it is Ask Me Anything, you can raise your hand there at the top of Teams. So we'll unmute you if you want to do that. We'll follow through these other couple questions. Will AI be able to read a flattened document? Example, the PDF was converted from editable to a flattened. So I think it's image only PDF is what Kyra's talking about there. So
Yeah, so the answer is absolutely yes. So whether documents already have an OCR text layer or have a PDF text layer, full text PDF with them, or they're just pure images, documents that don't have any full text data already, it doesn't matter. We're able to achieve both.
And then we have a question. I love this question, by the way, because I think we have a really good answer for it. But will this AI be able to read documents with older fonts, early 1900s or cursive writing, deeds from the late 1800s?
That is an excellent question. And in fact, I saw that question coming. So while we were doing that, that's the wrong button. I went ahead and pulled up an example. This is an example from another customer use case that they process deed and land county records. So they service county organizations across the country, and they process their mortgage, deeds, trust, leases, all of the documents related to property for these counties across the country. And so you can see here, this is a certificate of record from the state of Missouri. It has both machine print text as well as handwritten data there. And you can see, even though it says 30th of October 2023, it was still able to get that document date, even though it was, handwritten and kind of in cursive. And so yes, we can get information off of all different types of documents and data on them.
And I know we did. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I just will add one thing. I think in the past, previous document processing technology did really, really well with what I'll call fixed format documents or structured documents. So think of invoices, patient records, insurance claims, mortgage loan documents. Those are semi-structured and relatively structured documents. One of the things that Intuitive AI has really unlocked for us is unstructured documents, notes, letters, letters from attorneys. Those were big ones. Contracts. These documents that are just kind of free form and they're just typed by a human, and they're email correspondence, that kind of stuff. We're able to not only get pertinent information out of those documents, but also synthesize information. Ron showed you a great example of creating a non-legalese summary off of a contract that can help explain what that document is. Sorry, Christy, go ahead. I interrupt you.
No, I was just going to mention that I know we had a client that sent in land records that it was amazing to me, the quality or the accuracy off of those. So sign up for the POC, be one of the first 10, and we'd love to run those through. That's our favorite thing. We ran through the Declaration of Independence just for fun, and it did a really good job on it. And there's a lot of cursive and signatures and things like that. So anyway, we love those use cases. We'd love to show you what we can do there. And that's what that POC would be. Send us samples and we'll show you what we can do and do a custom demo specifically. So I don't see any more questions. Anybody else? I don't see any hand raises. So I appreciate everybody that joined today. We can give you some time back. I just want to give you a quick reminder. We are going to send a link to the recording, share with others. We'd love, to share this around to others in your organization. And if you are interested in that POC, you can book time with me, ChristyGary.com, because I'm a geek. So if you just go to ChristyGary.com, you can, it's my booking calendar, and you can book some time with me. Or we'll send you a QR code afterwards to fill out a form to sign up for that POC. So the first 10, we are going to give you a free custom demo POC to use our Intuitive AI. So thanks again for joining, and have a great rest of your day.
Yep. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.